welcome to day 2 of magic class. My name's Brian Kennedy, and today you're going to be learning how to do sleight of hand with cards. Today you're going to learn how to properly hold the cards, how to properly cut the cards, and to false cut the cards, which basically means you're making it look as if you're mixing up the cards when nothing has changed at all. You're also going to learn the infamous double lift. Now these moves are going to take you a lot of practice, but I guarantee you they're worth it for the reactions that you're going to get and to the level of magic you're going to be able to do once you've mastered these. Alright, so here we're going to get to it. So just a reminder that you need to always hold the cards in dealer's grip and biddle grip. Dealer's grip and biddle grip. Remember, dealer's grip is with your finger on the top of the deck here, your 3 fingers on the side. You're basically holding your hand palm up. First finger on top of the deck, 3 fingers on the side, thumb on the other side. They call it dealer's grip because it allows you to deal cards. You push it off with your thumb, it slides over these 3 fingers, and then you just throw it off. And then whenever you transfer from hand to hand, make sure you are always going from dealer's grip to biddle. Dealer's to biddle. Remember, biddle is when your right hand grabs the cards, your middle finger's on top, your first finger is curled, and then your thumb is on the bottom. This is just imperative to know. You gotta be holding the cards like this, or these next steps in the rest of this video are gonna be really hard. So make sure you're always holding the cards like this. Eventually it'll become natural. It's gonna feel weird at first, but it's gonna help with all the moves that you learned in class. So, all right. The first thing is you learn 2 real cuts and 2 false cuts in class. So I'm gonna go over both of those. So make sure that you start out with the deck in dealer's grip, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab it into biddle. Now, this is where it gets tricky. The first cut that you learned is called the swivel cut. Swivel cut? Yes. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your first finger, that's why it's curled, because it's free. You're going to pop up about half of the cards. Just pull them up. You're literally just going to hand the top half to your left hand. And you see how I put that into the crotch of my thumb? When I pull it off, and I wrap my fingers around, I'm already in dealer's grip. I just take this bottom half and I throw it on top. It's a swing cut, sorry. Swing cut. So, swing cut, just very simple. It looks fancy though, if you do it at the right time. It makes you look like you actually kind of know what you're doing. So, again, you start with it in dealer's grip. You're going to grab it into biddle, pull off about half the cards with one hand, put it into the crotch of your thumb. You're going to pull that off, and it automatically goes into dealer's grip. Take the rest, throw them on top. Now the next one you learned is the swivel cut. Again, start off in biddle grip, but this time you're just going to point with your finger. You're going to push off the back of the pack and push up half the cards. You're going to get your first finger out of the way. Now your middle finger is going to want to be, if you see these circles, they kind of mark the center of where the deck is. You want your middle finger just to the right of that circle. Because what's going to happen is this is going to swivel on your middle finger. So what you do is you take your first finger, you pluck up, so it's going backwards from what you were doing before. You're going to push up at the back, and then all you're going to do is use your middle finger like an anchor point. And so it's connecting at your middle and your first finger, and you're going to swivel it till it's forward. You're going to go from here, swivel it 180 degrees, and it'll basically just fall into dealer's grip in your hand. So again, you have the cards here, you're going to push up, swing about 180 degrees, and your hand will just automatically be in dealer's grip. Then you just take it just like with the swing cut, throw it on top. So at speed it should look like that. Automatically. Now you can do this with your thumb, but then you gotta transfer fingers, and it's a little bit trickier. So it's better to just use your first finger and just do it that way. So that's your first 2 simple real cuts. They're called real cuts because you are actually cutting the cards, meaning the top and the bottom card are changing. So when I do this, now we have a different card on the bottom. Now, the two false cuts. The first one we're going to go over is just the swing false cut. It's the one where you needed the table to do it on. It's very easy to do the swing false cut. You're going to do the swing cut just as you would normally do it. You're going to pull off half the cards with your first finger like that. You're going to put that top packet into the crotch of your thumb, pull it over, but this time, instead of slamming this pack on top, because that would be a real cut, what you're going to do is you're going to tap it, place your right hand, the Biddle gripped hand, down first onto the table, followed by the top packet. Now it's a false cut because no cards change places. So if I flip over this top card, you can see what happens. Do it at speed. But if you do it, it's deceptive because of that tapping. As long as you do it with the card face down, you go tap, tap, boom, boom. Now this is not a trick in itself. Don't use this as a move. Don't say like put your card back on top and then do this and say look, it jumped to the top. That's not really gonna fly by anybody. You just do it like in the middle of a sequence. It's just a good false cut to know to throw in. So the second false cut sequence, this one is a bit tough, and that's why I want to make this video. It's mostly going to be about this false cut right here. This false cut is, it looks very complicated, but it really is not. And you can see it's a false cut because if I put this card face up, you'll see that none of the cards change order. Do this false cut over and over. Alright, so it's not difficult, it just takes a little bit of practice once you get the moves down. Now if you can do the swing cut and you can do the swivel cut, you can do this entire sequence. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut off about a third of the cards just like this. You're going to push it into the crotch of your thumb, crotch, and then you're going to cut the cards again. Now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to take your ring finger off of the deck. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut these cards like you were going to do another swing cut, but you're going to take your ring finger off. You're going to take this top packet, remember this is the top packet, I'm going to put that card face up, just so you remember, Queen of Spades is the top packet. You're going to place it underneath, using the ring finger and the thumb to hold it. So that's the top packet right here at the bottom. You're then going to grab this new packet that's on top at this point and pull it into your hand into dealer's grip. Then you're going to swing cut this packet just like I taught you before with your first finger over on to this packet, and then you're just going to take your top packet, which was on bottom, and you're going to throw it on top. I'm going to do that one more time, a little tiny bit faster, but I'm just going to do it in a nice smooth motion. So first packet, you cut like you're going to swing cut, put it into the crotch, cut like you're going to swing cut again, take your ring finger off, first packet goes underneath onto the thumb, and your ring finger goes to the top of that packet to hold it there. So you've got 3 packets in your one hand now. You're going to take the top packet, you're going to swing cut the next packet, and you're going to take the last packet and throw it on top. So once you get it down to speed, it'll look like you cut up the cards when really you have done absolutely nothing. So that is a good sequence. Once you learn that sequence, you can do that little motion and give that one last cut, and now that first cut will fly by anybody. If you put those two together, so you do the first, that false cut I just showed you, plus that last one, that looks like you've just mixed up the cards when really you've done nothing. That Queen of Spades is still on top. Pretty simple. Alright, last one to do is, this is one of the big secrets of magic, I suppose, is the double lift. So we're doing what's called the push-off double lift. There's about 1 billion ways to do a double lift to make it look really, really deceptive. But we're just going to do the push-off double lift. That was a double lift right there. So here's how the push-off double lift works. You can't do this straight in front of them. You're going to have to talk while you do a get ready. So your get ready looks like this. You're going to push off 2 cards and then pull them back with your thumb. And then you're going to keep your pinky right here, the flesh of your pinky, right there. So that way you can actually use, sometimes I'll use two hands to do this. I'll actually pull off both cards and then put them back on under my pinky. Typically it's when I say something like your card is somewhere in the middle of the pack, you push it back and you have your pinky right here. You are then going to show the top card just by turning over both cards as one. And I grab the corner to kind of keep them squared up. It's a little easier to keep them squared up. The trick with this is you want to be kind of loose with it. You want to be loose with it. You're using all your other fingers to keep those two cards together, but you don't want to treat this card special. You don't want to like very carefully like turn it over. You just want to be loose with it. If the cards come apart a little bit, don't worry about it. Keep going. Because the nice thing about the bicycle cards is this border on the cards below your double lift is going to hide any discrepancy. So if you have this much of a discrepancy, as you can see, they won't notice it because there's a border on all the cards. So just assume that that's the border. So turn over both as one. So again, push off two cards, put them back, but keep your pinky underneath the cards so that will keep a gap. So the two cards are right here and your pinky is right below those two cards. You can then take those two cards and flip them over as one. I'm going to teach you a little trick that uses all of those moves. You're going to need something to make this sleight of hand trick work. You're going to need a second deck of cards, and that's why on the list of materials I always said you should have two decks, preferably the same color because you're going to want to use a double. So let's find a 10 of diamonds. Hopefully this deck of cards has a 10 of diamonds. There we go. So now we have two red 10 of diamonds. Get rid of that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your first red 10 of diamonds, you're going to put it on at the very top. You're going to take your second red 10 of diamonds and put it second from the top. Now the false cuts here are really just so you can be having the cards move around, but they're not mixing up the order. So what you're going to want to do is you're not going to have them pick a card in a traditional way. What you're going to do is you're going to say, I want you to hold out your hand like this. I'm going to give you one card. You're going to push over and do your get ready before you even ask them this. At the point you want to start the trick, have your get ready to go. Say, hold out your hand like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the queen of spades. And I throw it right down on the table and say, put your hand on top of the queen like this, so I can't get to it. While they're putting their hand on top, I do my second get ready. So I push off the two cards and I come back with my pinky stuck right under there. Then you're going to show again, two cards is one. And you say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put the 10 of diamonds into your hand and take out the queen. Now because you've just done two double lifts, boom, it's going to switch places. So they're going to have the 10, you're going to have the queen. So I'm going to show you this again. So again, you're going to have your 10 of diamonds, then on top of that, your queen or any indifferent card, and then your duplicate, the other 10 of diamonds. So the first thing you're going to do is do a push off and have your double lift ready to go. You say, hold out your hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you blank this card, so you're turning two over as one, and you're going to put down, oops, as I mess that up, don't do that, that'll ruin it. You're going to show two cards as one, you're going to put down what they think is the queen, but it's really the 10, and you're going to say, put your hand on top of that. And while they're putting their hand on top of it, sometimes I'll say push down kind of hard, so that way if you feel anything move, you'll know. Just to give myself a little bit more time to do that get ready. So now you're going to push off again, and you're going to do a double lift showing the second 10 of diamonds this time. And you're going to say, I'm going to try to switch the 10 for the queen in your hand. Whenever sometimes I'll say, whenever you say go, and they'll say go, and you go watch. And you have the queen, and they will have the 10. So hopefully that's a nice simple application for practicing your double lift. Alright guys, hopefully that helps you get a start into how to do sleight of hand. It's all about that practice, practice, practice. I will post videos in the future if you do want to start increasing your skills in sleight of hand. Obviously there's other YouTube channels that do it too, but make sure you subscribe below so that way you can see when I start posting more and more videos to start developing that sleight of hand skill. Now, if you don't like that sleight of hand, make sure you do tune in next week anyway, because we're going to be doing mentalism, which is a lot less sleight of hand. It's much more based on presentation. Mentalism is reaching into somebody's mind and reading a thought. That really freaks out people. So make sure you check out next week's video if you want to start learning how to do some of that. Other than that, if I didn't explain something well in terms of this video, make sure you comment below so that way I know and I can reshoot it or re-explain it in a little bit easier to understand way. I could potentially see that double lift video becoming a problem, but just let me know below if you have any issues or if you have a good story about how you did it for the first time and fooled somebody. Let me know. Other than that, I'm just going to sign off. I'll see you next week. My name is Brian Kennedy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit thumbs up so that way I can keep making those little bonus videos for you.